Happy Halloween. I'm Leonardo. Okay, I have no idea if you could understand me with the mask on, so like I'm just gonna just for just in case, I'm gonna just keep it off like this. It looks dumb, but the costume already looks stupid, which is kind of what I was going for. But why am I Leonardo, you ask? You see, it has nothing to do with Haunted Mansion at all, which is the topic of this video. But I was just in a real like big Ninja Turtles mood this year. I'm always like in a Ninja Turtles mood, but it was especially big this year because of Mutant Mayhem. And I remembered as a kid, I was Leonardo 2 times for 2 different Halloweens. One when the 2012 show was really popular, and another time when the Michael Bay 2014 movie had come out. So I thought, I'm gonna keep the tradition going. I'm gonna be Leonardo again from the new movie, Mutant Mayhem. Again, this has nothing to do with Haunted Mansion itself. I just want to be Leonardo. And yeah, anyway, Haunted Mansion. Yep, there was a new Haunted Mansion movie today with an all-star cast of Danny DeVito, Owen Wilson, Tiffany Haddish, Rosario Dawson, like so many people, including the one and only Jared Leto. I had to do that because it was gonna be good. Jared Leto, who I just love to dunk on, honestly. Yes, I had a lot of fun talking about how bad he was as the Joker in the Suicide Squad movie. I enjoyed making the Morbius video talking about how bad that movie was. I didn't enjoy watching that movie, but I did enjoy making the video talking about how, oh my god, how I didn't like watching that movie. You get what this thing distracted me. I lost track of what I was going to say. I didn't have fun watching Morbius, but I had fun making the video about Morbius, talking about how much I didn't have fun watching that, if that makes any sense. And I thought, hey, let's keep the tradition going and talk about another Jared Leto movie, Haunted Mansion, where he plays the Hatbox Ghost. And don't worry, I'll talk about other stuff regarding this movie, but like that was kind of the main reason I chose to talk about it, just because of Jared Leto. Let's go ahead and talk about the Haunted Mansion from 2023. Is it any good? Does Jared Leto like actually have a good performance in this? Will I continue having this thing on my head even though it keeps wobbling around and it's distracting? Let's find out. Okay, so I think I found a way to have it on my head without it having flopping around. I put the mask part here, so it just kind of looks like I have like a ribbon or whatever. But it works for now. So this movie is based on the ride at Disneyland, or is it World? I don't know. I've never been to any Disney parks because as a kid, my family never had the money, so I've never actually been on the Haunted Mansion, unfortunately. Maybe one day in the future. I hope so. I would really like to go one day to either Disneyland or World or whichever. I just want to go to a Disney park is the point. I never got to as a kid, and I just really want. Point is, never been on the Haunted Mansion, so I can't really say what the differences are between the ride and this movie. I'm assuming the ride doesn't have Danny DeVito, so, that's a possibility. I don't know. Like I said, never been on it. However, I do know a little bit about the Haunted Mansion from, like, stuff I've seen, like, whether it be, like that one show that Disney Plus had for a while that was, like, kind of went over, like, the history of, like, their different, like, rides. And I believe had like the same producer as like the Toys That Made Us and the Movies That Made Us. If I'm wrong, please like let me know in the comments. But like I watched the episode they had on the Haunted Mansion. I've seen like Disney's various things where they like had Haunted Mansion stuff in it, like for example the Ghost and Molly McGee chibi short where they like had the characters in the Haunted Mansion, or the one that I most know right now is the Muppets Haunted Mansion special where it had Gonzo and the shrimp guy Pepe go into the Haunted Mansion, and the Muppet characters were the Haunted Mansion characters basically. So basically what I'm saying is everything I know about the Haunted Mansion comes from that stuff instead of the actual ride. So at least I know a bit about like the characters, like the Hatbox Ghost or Madame Leota, stuff like that. And so yeah, it kind of disappointed me to see that like they're not really in the movie that much. Madame Leota and the Hatbox Ghost play big-ish roles, especially the Hatbox Ghost because he's like the villain and he's played by Jared Leto, which I will get into that later. But most of the movie is like mainly about like these group of people who are in the Haunted Mansion, and like the ghosts are just kind of like disturbing them, and they got to deal with them, and also they're like invisible, so we don't even see them for most of it. So all those like fun designs that the ghosts have and in the Haunted Mansion and the various things that you've seen, like the ride or all the promotional stuff Disney has done, nope, you barely see them in this movie because they're invisible. Ooh, so you just gotta imagine what they look like. Ooh. Throughout most of the movie, oh, by the way, no, my hair and beard aren't different, you're just imagining things. Throughout most of the movie, you actually follow this set of new characters specifically for this movie, which are played by an all-star cast. You got Lakeith Stanfield, you got Rosario Dawson, you got, like, Danny DeVito, you got Owen Wilson, Tiffany Haddish, You know, and there's also a few of the celebrities that play like the ghosts, but we're mainly going to be talking about like the original characters of this movie, and I didn't hate them actually. I mean, they weren't incredible, but you know, I think some of them were pretty good. They were alright. They were alright. I think it definitely helps that they're played by actors who I do really like. They're in a lot of great stuff, and I enjoy a lot of these actors. Like, I think Lakeith Stanfield is an incredible actor. I think he's absolutely amazing. Have you seen Judas and the Black Messiah? He ate. He ate on that. Like that, his acting in that movie was so good. Rosario Dawson, I think she's great. I love Danny DeVito. I love him so much that every day I think about how I did that Space Jam video, and I did not even mention the fact that he voiced the villain in that. And I look into the mirror every day and go like, how could you do that? And so I regret that. It's one of my biggest regrets in life. But yeah, Danny DeVito's in this, and he's great. There's one scene where he's talking to like Lakeith Stanfield's character and Owen Wilson's character, and he keeps talking about how he's gonna come, but they're all like, "No, you better not come." And he's like, "Oh, I'm coming." Like, "No, you don't come. Please do not come." And I just thought that was really funny. I'm not gonna say the context for that scene, but anyway, yeah, Danny DeVito's in this. I like him, and Owen Wilson. He's not incredible in this. He's better in other stuff, but I don't know. I guess his character in this is like he's like this priest who like tries to recruit Lakeith Stanfield to help him with the Haunted Mansion, but then spoiler alert for the movie, I guess it turns out that Owen Wilson is not actually a priest. He was just a guy who was pretending to be a priest. And so it's like a thing, you know. It's like it sounds like it could be funny, like, oh, Owen Wilson's like this like con artist who's like pretending to be a priest, but like I don't know, it just doesn't feel like they do. I don't even know if they'd said if he was a con artist. I think he was. I don't know. Point is, like, it could have been funnier, but like the way it was done, it was just kind of like, yeah, but still, he's like okay in the movie, I guess. Tiffany Haddish is in this movie, and she plays like this fortune teller or something that kind of comes in and helps them try to solve the problem with the Haunted Mansion. And she's just kind of doing her Tiffany Haddish thing. It's kind of enjoyable. Like some jokes are pretty funny, and like it's like nothing incredible, but it's just kind of Tiffany Haddish doing like her, you know, her thing that you see in other movies. And while it's not as good as it is in other stuff, like I still think her best performance ever is as Tuca in Tuca and Birdie. But here it's like, you know, it's alright, I guess. And there's Rosario Dawson, who is also pretty alright. She's better in other things, but she's still pretty good in here. She plays this mom who moves into the Haunted Mansion with her son. I forgot what his name was. It was like Timmy or whatever his name is. They move into this place because I guess they just wanted to get away from it all in New York or wherever she was. And like the thing that I don't get is that she said she was like a doctor in New York or something, but now they're moving here and she wants to like, her dream is to open a bed and breakfast, and I'm just like, did she just not get paid? I feel like you know, I'm all for people following their dreams, but like, don't doctors pay more? Like I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. Just find that kind of weird. But anyway, yeah, I guess she moves to this haunted mansion to like, you know, start a bed and breakfast, and also after like the death of like the kid's father, that's something that happened too. Sad. But like yeah, they're here now, and oh no, there's ghosts everywhere. So they got to recruit help, and they get the help from all these people: Lakeith Stanfield, Owen Wilson, Tiffany Haddish, Danny DeVito too. They get his help. I don't remember any of the characters' names. I just obvious. Like it wouldn't be a David Definitive Edition video if it wasn't like, you know, if it didn't have me like not knowing the characters' names. But anyway, they're all essentially people who try to help with the Haunted Mansion, try to figure out, you know, how to do this. And also, once they get trapped in the Haunted Mansion, the ghosts just follow them around, so they kind of are like stuck with them. So they'd be like, all right, we got to deal with it so that, you know, we can get all these ghosts away from us. And Lakeith Stanfield's character, let me talk about him. I think like his character, he's supposed to be like this like guy who doesn't really believe in the paranormal stuff in the beginning, yet he has like this camera that can help him see like the dead things, like ghosts and stuff. So kind of like Luigi's Mansion 3. I remember that being a thing in Luigi's Mansion 3. You could use a camera to like you know, find the ghosts and stuff. And like I just thought like, oh hey, that's cool. Reminds me of Luigi's Mansion 3. So there's a point for the movie there. But anyway, a big thing about him in this movie is that he's dealing with the death of his wife. And like, you know, that kind of like brings him down, and like he even tries to see if he can see her just one more time, which is why he has the camera. And I think like some of the scenes he has with like the kid Timmy or whatever his name is, where he also like tries to bond with him, and then later on when he like tells him about his dad, and like it's honestly pretty good, like emotional stuff. Like nothing incredible. I've definitely seen it done better in other things, but like honestly, I didn't hate it, and it was pretty well acted. Like, there's even one scene where Lakeith Stanfield's character is talking to the other characters about how he lost his wife and like what happened to her, and like the acting from him is like so good. Like, man, I'm telling you, Lakeith Stanfield is such a good actor. It makes me go, man, why is he in this? But like, man, the acting on him is like so good in the movie, like really good in a lot of scenes. But with that being said, the movie itself is still just kind of okay. I think I like this cast a lot. I even think Danny DeVito's pretty good. The thing is that, like, while there's some really good acting from some people and some okay acting from others, like I said, Owen Wilson's just kind of fine in this. Like his, I feel like his whole thing about being a con artist who's pretending to be like a priest should be funnier than it really is, but it's just not that funny. And that's the thing. I feel like, yeah, I like this cast, but they're just kind of doing like either really good like Keith Stanfield, or just like kind of just like you know, they're just, you can kind of tell they're just doing this for a paycheck as well. But they're not bombing it. They're not terrible. They're just like kind of fine. And yeah, a lot of their jokes are also just kind of like, you know, fine too. Like, I didn't laugh too much. I mean, like, I laughed when like Danny DeVito was talking about how he was gonna come, but like, you know, I don't really think that was supposed to be a joke. It was just funny to me because I just think hearing Danny DeVito say, "Hey, I'm gonna come," is just funny to me. I think the production design of the Haunted Mansion itself is, you know, it doesn't look like incredible, but it looks, you know, it looks like a Haunted Mansion. I guess it looks pretty decent. Like, it gives off like a little bit of the atmosphere, but I still feel like they could have gone like a bit farther with it. I'm not saying they had to make like an R-rated Haunted Mansion movie and make like the place super gruesome and bloody or everything, but like, no, I don't know, even if going just a bit more in the exaggerated route, like something like Nightmare Before Christmas or like Coraline or something that's just like exaggeratedly spooky or something, then like I think that would be more interesting. But it still looks fine. And the same goes for the effects with the ghosts. They look okay, you know, like the ghosts, they just look like, oh, your typical CGI dead ghost people, but like nothing too cartoonishly or too gruesome. It's just kind of like in the middle to make something that just goes like, oh, okay, I guess that's a ghost, that's a dead guy. But like, I don't know, I still feel like they could have just gone maybe a bit further to like not necessarily make this like a full-on horror movie, but like, you know, at least make it feel more spooky in a fun way, I guess. And it just feels kind of spooky and like, oh, it's like trying to be fun, but it's like doesn't want to get too hard, you know, to scare the kiddies and everything. Apparently, this movie was originally going to be directed by Guillermo del Toro, and he actually said he wanted it to be sort of like very like a lot more spookier, but like in a fun way. And honestly, hearing that makes me go like, man, I really wish I could have seen what that would have been like. Like Guillermo del Toro directing a Haunted Mansion movie. That just sounds amazing. I would have loved to see that. But instead, we got this, and it's still like fine. It's just I don't got too much to say. But like it's just like, you know, acting's pretty good. Like Keith Stanfield, I really like. Some of the emotional beats are pretty good too. It's just that like, I don't know, it's just the story is just kind of like, oh hey, they just gotta solve what's going on with the Haunted Mansion, and we don't really see too much of the ghosts. They're invisible most of the time, and it's not until like towards the end when we see them and they just look kind of okay. But I do have some things I want to say regarding two specific ghosts. I mentioned this before, but like we don't see too many of like the Haunted Mansion like ghosts that we see like in other stuff, like in the promotional material, or I guess like the actual ride. I don't know, I've never been on it. We do see the two ones that I do know quite a bit about. We see Madame Leota, who is played by Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie. She's in a ball, you know, and then later she's not in a ball. And we also see the Hatbox Ghost, played by Jared Leto. Okay, I should tell you that don't worry, we don't see Jared's little face for too long. We do see it a little bit in like a painting, and when he's actually the Hatbox Ghost itself, it's not him. It just looks like, oh, hey, like a cartoony-ish, like a ghost face that doesn't look like him. It just looks like the Hatbox Ghost, I guess. So thankfully, we don't see Jared Leto's face too much, which is honestly a good thing. All right, so yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis, she's like okay as the Madame Leota. She just kind of helps like Tiffany Haddish's character try to like do all the mystical magic stuff to like get the ghosts and, you know, help them out and defeat the Hatbox Ghost, all that stuff. And like Hatbox Ghost himself, played by Jared Leto, actually does play a pretty big role. He's like the main antagonist, the one that traps all the ghosts in the Haunted Mansion, and he wants to trap like one more soul so that he can escape. And he plans on it being either like the kid, Timmy or whatever his name is, or like Keith Stanfield. And I do think it's pretty funny how they say the origin story of the Hatbox Ghost, and apparently he was just like really hated that they decapitated him. And knowing that in that universe he looks like Jared Leto, that's just kind of funny. I know I'm starting to sound like that one Letterboxd reviewer that like wants Jared Leto dead. Like, I mean, no, I'm not gonna say it. Point is, I think it's pretty funny that in this world, Jared Leto is hated just as much as he is in the real world. So, there's that. But anyway, yeah, the actual way the Hatbox Ghost looks, you know, when he's like all CGI with the face, it looks fine, you know. The voice kind of it doesn't sound much like Jared Leto's normal voice. I'm sure he's like doing like a, you know, a ghost voice, ooh. But when I hear it, it goes like, oh, it doesn't really sound anything like Jared Leto. So it makes me go, then why do we need to get Jared Leto? Couldn't we have gotten someone better? I was talking about this with a friend. He said Willem Dafoe could have been a great Hatbox Ghost, and I was just like, yeah, Willem Dafoe would have made an amazing Hatbox Ghost. Man, that would have been super epic, actually. Anyway, yeah, Jared Leto's the Hatbox Ghost. You know, he's I mean, I guess it's one of his better performances, if I'm being honest. I liked him more than Joker and Morbius, but that's probably because he's not in the movie too much, and we don't really see him all that much. So, there's that. Anyway, that's kind of the main reason I wanted to talk about this movie. Yeah, just to dunk on Jared Leto. And even then, I didn't do too much dunking on. I just said like, oh yeah, I guess he's like in the movie. His performance is fine, question mark. But it's like, it could have been done by anyone. Literally, actually anyone better. Like Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe would have made an amazing Hatbox Ghost. I also wanted to make this video to like fix something I said back in the Morbius video where I was dunking on Jared Leto again, because, you know, that's really fun to do. And like I said something along the lines of like, I don't hate Jared Leto as a person, I just kind of hate like his acting in the movies he's in, like, and something like that. And I said like, hey, if I ever learn something terrible about him, then I'll hate him as a person. Well, I did learn more about him, like more of the behind the scenes stuff that he did on like Suicide Squad, which I don't know if I actually mentioned that. Did I mention the behind the scenes stuff? I don't know. Like I forget a lot of what I said. I forgot what I said in the beginning of this video. But anyway, I also learned about some of the also not great stuff he's done in his personal life, which I will not get into because I want this video to be mostly fun. I'm not gonna talk about the serious stuff for right now. Basically, yeah, Jared Leto is a terrible person, so now I can hate him as a person too. Yay! Anyway, my god, dude, yeah, Jared Leto, he's you know, in this movie, honestly, I really wish they got someone else, because with Jared Leto's little involvement in this, it kind of makes me go, huh, you know, it could have been anyone, like Willem Dafoe. Oh, man. But, like, yeah, he's in this movie, and he doesn't bring it down too much. It's just kind of, his existence is just kind of like a bad thing that you kind of go, like, to deal with, like, oh, okay, he's in this. But anyway, yeah, like, the movie itself overall is, like, you know, fine. It's, like, a typical, like, kind of family-friendly-ish spooky movie that's not really all that spooky. Again, I feel like they could have gone a little bit farther to make it more interestingly spooky, or you know, something like what Guillermo del Toro wanted to do. Again, Guillermo del Toro making a Haunted Mansion movie would have been super awesome, like really gas, but like, nah, instead we kind of got this, and it's still okay, but like, I don't know I'll ever rewatch it. But I did not hate it while watching this. I mean, I hated having to deal with the fact that Jared Leto's in it, but thankfully he's barely in the movie, and we barely see his actual face, so there is that. And something else that I do want to say about this movie that I think is really funny is that, so this movie did not do well. It came out during the actors' strike when that started happening, or around when it started happening, and the writer's strike was still happening around the same time too, which I'm really happy to hear what happened with the writer's strike. They're getting a fair deal and everything. That's awesome. I really hope the actors get a fair deal soon. But like what I was saying, when like the when the movie came out, the red carpet premiere, because it was happening during the actors' strike, both the actors and writers' strike, no one showed up, so Disney had to send in a bunch of their mascots, like people in costumes, to go there, which is pretty funny and embarrassing for them. And then the movie came out in August. For some reason, this seems like an easy, oh man, October, like, you know, sell, like, oh man, go see the Haunted Mansion this October in theaters. But like, no, they put it out in August. I have no idea. Yeah, so I don't know what Disney was doing this. It just seemed like they just wanted it out there, like get it out of here, because they didn't seem to really care all that much. And it kind of shows off in here. Just kind of felt like, oh, they wanted to do another Haunted Mansion movie, but not to do anything too risky with it. So I guess that's why they got rid of Guillermo del Toro, or whatever happened with that. Probably should have done a bit more research. But like, yeah, they just kind of did something like this, and it's still like fine, I guess, but nothing too memorable. I like Danny DeVito talking about how he's gonna come. Yeah, happy Halloween. Oh look, it's Al Sangui.